Hello, I'm Alex Mondosian, and welcome to this masterclass. Today, we're talking about principles, not tactics, not even strategies, but principles. And principles are enduring. Now, today, it's all about the principles of persuasive sales pages. Now, there are many sales pages that are online. There are many sales pages that are offline in the form of, let's say, sales letters. But I would say that very few are persuasive because persuasion means you're getting a positive result. If they're persuasive in getting you to take action and paying money or opting in or taking an assessment or completing an application, that is persuasion. And persuasion happens all the time. You have to persuade people in your presentation, in your emails, on your online pages, whatever type of pages you have, even face-to-face. If you're married, you know this. If you're divorced, you know this. If you're a parent, you know this. And if your parents are still living, you know this. Persuasion is a key to life. And so if you're going to have sales pages, then a persuasive sales page is something that's just as easy to create as a non-persuasive sales page, because there's so many examples of persuasive sales pages, but many people create sales pages originally in their heads and hearts because they think it's going to work, and they find that no, most of the reasons why sales pages work online, and I'll discuss to you what they are, why they're important, and how they work, but the reason sales pages work is because they're counterintuitive. They're not what you think they are. So let's begin. Let's start with a definition. For all of you who need to have a definition of what something is, what is a sales page that is online? Well, a sales page is any page that is selling something. Now, to me, sales just does not mean making money. Selling to me is selling an opt-in, which is an email or first name and email. Selling means getting an application started for, let's say, a strategy or discovery session. Selling means doing the next logical thing, like in a thank you page. Selling can mean persuading you that I have credibility by showing you testimonials, endorsements, or case studies. Okay. Selling means having someone else take action. Albert Einstein said, nothing happens until something moves. In the business world, nothing happens until something is sold. So that is a sales page according to Alex Mondosian. Now, if someone else says something else, that's what they say. And there are far more people out there that are smarter than I am, and certainly people who make more money than I do. But you're here watching me, and so that's my definition, just so we're crystal clear. Next, the question is, why should, now I don't want to should all over you, as many of my coaches say, but why should sales pages be persuasive? Well, if you're going to have a page that's going to sell something, that's going to get you to take action, selling and taking action, okay, those two concepts are synonymous, right? They're the same thing, in my opinion, right? Now, if you're going to have an online sales page, why not make it persuasive? Now, what does persuasion mean as it results to a sales page? Persuasion means that if a page is converting at 20%, let's say 20 out of 100 people take the action, could be an opt-in, could be a click, could be an order, could be anything, right? It's just you physically taking action with your mouse or mouse pad. Now, someday soon, it'll be just with your mind telepathically, but right now, at this moment, that's not possible. Now, whether it's clicking something with your keyboard or it's wandering around on a page on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or wherever. If you're going to take action and someone else wants you to take action, that's called persuasion. So if 20 out of 100 people say yes, right, that could be persuasive depending on what you're wanting them to do. If you have a 1-hour exam that you want them to take and they're strangers, 20% is great. But if you have an opt-in and you're giving them a lead magnet or an ethical bribe in exchange for their email, 20% is not great. So if you have a baseline of 20%, which is why we do A and B split testing. So one page is 20%, the other page is 40%, 40 out of 100. Which one is more persuasive? The one that does 40%. Duh. So all persuasion means is getting more results. Okay. Less is not more in the world of sales. More is more, right? So they're saying yes or no, and then they're saying more or less. If it's less salesworthy, it's less persuasive. My good friend John Reese taught me that in 2007. It's all about yes or no and more or less. Okay. He said that from stage, and I'll never forget it. It's 10 years ago. Now, here's the third question. How? For you methodicals watching, how do you design persuasive sales pages? Well, the way you design them is not for Google, is not for bots or robots. You design them for humans. Human optimization. Now, human optimization is different than search engine optimization because a search engine doesn't have a heartbeat. Now, you may think it does, but it doesn't. So humans are persuaded differently than robots. Robots are about words. Robots are about video. Okay. If you want to be number one on Google, video helps. But for people, video may not help. If it's autoplay or if it's permission play, it would depend on the person, right? So how do you make online sales pages work better for you? Optimize them for human beings. So let's go with 3 key elements that make for great sales pages. Okay. And then these are persuasive pages. First, you have to have a clear call to action. Now, a clear CTA or call to action is simple, but it's forgotten. So most people don't make it clear. Does your button say submit? Does your button say add to cart? Or does the button say, I'm all in, Alex? Or you had me at hello, Alex? Or the button kind of reads like a headline, like you are conversing with the person who's taking the action. I like buttons that have conversations, brief ones, but those are more compelling. And in tests, I found that those buttons are not only unusual and different, but they get more clicks. Now, if your CTA is unclear with a lack of clarity, you don't become persuasive. Fuzzy targets never get hit. Actually, they do get hit if you're lucky, but you want a very clear target and you want to aim for the bullseye. So at least you hit some of the outer rings if you're shooting an arrow, right? Now, a CTA just means a call to action. It could be a link, it could be a button, and it could be not just to buy something, which there is a misunderstanding with sales. It's not just about buying, it's selling you to the next step. It's a sequence. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I am selling you, and the more persuasive I am, the deeper I go into whatever it is you're selling me. Is that crystal clear? Yes? All right, next. Element number 2 is to have a persuasive reason why. Now, what does this mean? Well, Dan E. Kennedy, he was a copywriter at the turn of the 20th century, and he wrote a book called Reason Why Copy. Now, whether it's in copywriting with the written word or copywriting with the visual word like I'm doing now, or with the spoken word, it doesn't matter. If you have a good reason why, people will take action. If you have a not so good reason why, meaning it's not believable, even if it's true, then it's not persuasive. So for example, I have a confession to make. I have to get rid of all my inventory from my fitness equipment because the new stuff is coming in this season. We're going into summer, and I have to let go of all the equipment because the new line is coming in. I even have some equipment that's scratched and dented, and that's why I'm making this discount possible. Everything is 30% off. And if you come in and get the scratched and dent equipment, it's 50% off. Now, is that a believable reason why to come in to a store and buy fitness equipment? Well, it's worked before to the companies that I've consulted. So make sure your reason why is not only believable, but it's compelling, it's persuasive. I think the number one challenge that most business people have is they just put a reason why that doesn't make sense. Oh, we have a limit of 32. Why? Well, because we just do. And then they raise it to 33, 34, 35, and 36. If you're going to put a limit in time, if you're going to put a limit in volume or the number of items available, make sure the reason why is believable. Nothing is persuasive as the truth, Go back to all the reasons why you're asking someone to do something. What's the reason why to watch this masterclass? So that you get more sales faster, better, and with less human effort. You spend the same amount of time and money and you make more money. That's the reason why. If it's not compelling, stop watching. There's no reason to be here. You're wasting your time. You're not wasting my time, because I have lots of people watching who are interested in that. Okay? Time out. So that's a reason why. I just showed you a reason why. You don't have to be offensive, but you can be polarizing a little bit. All right, next. Element number 3. Now, this is called the RCU factor. It's something I made up. Now, there are 3 parts to this third factor, and that is relevancy, credibility, and urgency. Okay? If relevancy is low, then credibility has to be super high. If urgency is low and credibility and relevancy is high, you still won't get a persuaded sale. Why? Because relevancy, credibility, and urgency, buying now or acting now, they have to be high. So here's a great way to measure whether or not you have compelling and persuasive pages online, whether they're selling an opt-in or a product or a $1 trial membership or a free membership or a free book with $9.95 shipping and handling. One guy who did the 2-step offer with a free book is going to generate over $100 million next year at the time of this recording. And he was a student of mine. Super annoying when students are smarter than you are and make more money. But that's how smart he is because urgency, credibility, and relevancy is super high on his sales pages. So relevancy means, hey, why this? Credibility is why me or why us? And urgency is why now? Those are the 3 reasons why to those elements. Are you liking this so far? Is it making sense? Are you glad you made it here? All right. Well, we did a survey with my tribe, and I wanted to find out for this topic, on the persuasion of sales pages, because generally there's a bias from between men and women. Now, my best salesperson of high-end sales, like $100,000 sales, is a woman. Her name is Janet at the time of this recording. She lives in Florida. If she's watching, she's smiling. Now, that's against all the other men that are related to my company or do the offline and online selling for me. So it's not man or woman type of thing. It's a matter of skills. In fact, I have a bias towards having women doing the sales because people don't have a bias towards them. Us guys, they have a bias towards us. We're right below a politician. We're part of the swamp, right? Now, I'm not saying that's the case in all cases, but I'm saying that's the case in many cases. Guys have more against them in most cases. I'm a guy, so I get to say this, than women do. So if you're a woman watching right now, you have a huge advantage. So take advantage of what I'm teaching you, and then maybe I can hire you. So between the men and women that I surveyed, I asked, okay, how many of you who are watching this show about online sales pages are women, and how many of you are men? 59% said men and 41% said women. Now, the reason that's unusual is because over 65% of my online list are women. So fewer women came on to watch this topic than men did. And I think it's because of the title. Now, if I had a different title, I probably would have attracted more women, or I can at least create that. Are you with me? So how you say something can persuade one gender or the next, one age or the next, right? One niche or the next. You want to get rich in your niche? Keep watching. If you're overseas from North America, if you want to get riche in your niche, because that's what you call it, then keep watching. All right, then the next poll, I asked people who were watching this show on this topic, I asked them, have you ever made $1 or more online? Now, how much money does it take to turn professional, like to go from amateur to pro? $1. Doesn't matter if it's 99 cents or a $1 membership or whatever. You don't have to make millions of dollars to have become a professional online marketer. So we had 36% said no. Like over a third of the people had never made $1 online, which is great because now no bad habits if you're learning what I'm teaching you. 64% said yes, or 2/3. Now, I don't know how much money But imagine 1/3 of the people have not made $1 online, and that's even lead generation through online where you're selling offline. And then my final survey is interesting, right? Now, my final survey is which one of these skill sets, I asked, are you wanting to improve most? Where do you need the most improvement? Now, put another way, which one of these do you suck at most? What are you terrible at? So I gave 4 choices. Number 1, productivity skills. Number 2, outsourcing skills. Number 3, selling skills. And number 3, management skills. Here are the results. Productivity, 23%, almost a quarter of my tribe said they feel productivity is the skill they need the most improvement on. Outsourcing, handing stuff over to other people, 21% of my tribe said they needed outsourcing. Now that's about the same as productivity, but selling, 51%, all right, almost more than outsourcing and productivity combined. 51% said that selling is the area of most improvement or that they're not good at. And then finally, under management skills, 5% said that is the thing they need most improvement on. Now, here's what's interesting. Most of my tribe makes less than $1 million a year. In fact, I would argue most of them make less than $250,000 a year. When you make $2 and $3 million a year as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, then management usually rates the highest. I need to improve on management because you're managing people and people are getting where you need to be. But in the business cycle, in the very beginning, you need to be a salesperson. The first person you want to hire is not a salesperson. Don't outsource selling or marketing. Hire a bookkeeper and then hurt that person. You be the salesperson. That's what I did when I first started over 20 years ago. I hired a bookkeeper, and if she was not busy, I was not doing my job. Okay? Next, different types of sales pages. Now, I knew this question would pop up. Alex, what do you mean by sales pages? Well, there are a lot more people who are smarter than I am, and they make a lot more money, and they may have a different opinion. This is my opinion. Okay, so that's my disclosure. So a sales page could be an order page when you get to the shopping cart. A sales page could be a donation page, like on PayPal, or if you have a YouTube channel, sometimes people ask for donations, or on a blog. Application page, if the person is completing an application like we do for our discovery sessions. An OTO means one-time offer. A one-time offer page is where you order something and it says, but wait, there's more. And they offer you something that is relevant, urgent, and credible, and you say yes, and they get a bump in income. And then next is free plus shipping and handling page. Now, I've done this with books, DVDs. I've done it with audio cassettes, which you probably don't even remember, CDs. We do it with books these days. VSL stands for video sales letter. What's the middle word there? Sales. So if the video does not sell, you don't eat. If the video doesn't sell, you don't get to pay your JV partners and they get upset with you. So selling is important. And then a deposit page. Many times I'll have a page up for a deposit in order to make the next payment. That is selling. And then pre-order page, if you're pre-ordering a book, that's another type of sales page. Now there's probably dozens or more, but those are the ones I wanted to impart and teach you just so you get a sense and a context of what I'm talking about. Next, the 5 costly mistakes. Costly, see the dollar sign? 5 costly mistakes that reduce pulling power. You pull with sales pages. You don't push away. You pull them in. You seduce them in. That's what great sales do. Through curiosity and wonder, you bring them in, right? If I told you that at the end of this session, I'm going to give you access to an assessment that's made me over $4.5 million, and it took me over 3 years to create and perfect, would you want to see it? How's that for curiosity? In fact, you can even take it and get a strategy session with me if you're serious about becoming a client of mine. Now, if you're not serious, then just check out the questions on the assessment because it's almost made me $5 million. Right? So how's that for curiosity? Are you going to still stay on? Okay, I'm selling you to stay on until the end of the masterclass. And this masterclass is free. Or if you're in the professional trade, it's complimentary if free is offensive. All right. Next, mistake number 1 is not enough order links. What does that mean? Well, order links are call to action links, and you don't just put one at the very bottom of the page. you pepper them along the way, because those are like trial sales. Maybe you got them in the first third. Maybe you got them in the second third. Don't wait till the very end. Give them opportunities to say yes. Mistake number 2, no payment plan. These days, credit card is not enough. You need to break up a payment plan. And if you can make the first payment lower than the balance of the payments, so if you can make the first payment under $100, if your shopping cart allows you, and the balance could be $400 or $500 each, whatever, then that lowers the hurdle and people say yes. Mistake number 3 is missing FAQs. FAQ stands for frequently asked questions. When I create any kind of sales page, I always start with frequently asked questions. Now, I don't always put up frequently asked questions, because a lead magnet doesn't require frequently asked questions on that squeeze page or the landing page, because you'll lose them. You don't want people to read. You want people to opt in. You can put frequently asked questions on the thank you page, which is the page they see next. But if you have a sales page and they're buying something from you, it's important to write your FAQs first, because that is going into the minds and hearts of your visitor. A headline, subheadline, copy, bullet points such as benefits and features, guarantee, all that stuff is coming from your mind and heart. But if you want to practice the platinum rule, do unto others as they want to be done unto, then come up with your frequently asked questions first. And you can model them from your competitors or some of the best online marketers that you frequent. Just look at what their FAQs are all about. And the more specific they are, the better. Such as, what's the money back guarantee? Not specific. How about this? I carve wooden bears in Santa Cruz, California. If this doesn't work for me, tell me what my money back guarantee is. Now, if I can convince with the written word or video to get that person to say yes, which I have a student like that, by the way. I did for Teleseminar Secrets, which was a course that made me many, many millions of dollars, 14 to be exact. Well, if I do it that way, that's much more specific. So people are thinking, wow, I'm a chiropractor. If someone who carves wooden bears is getting the guarantee, then I'm good with it as well. But just saying what the guarantee is not selling, because you're not flanking them. You're not insinuating. Some of the great sales strategies are to do it invisibly. The invisible close, okay? That wasn't created by me. That was created by a dear friend of mine. And her name is Lisa Sasevich. And so when you sell invisibly and then tell on yourself, which is what I do, that is a lot of credibility, urgency, and relevancy. No subheadlines. Let's say you've written maybe 20 headlines for your sales page. What do you do with the other 19? Well, I would use maybe 5 or 6 of them for subheadlines, because some people in this OCD world we live in just read subheadlines. So if each subheadline is taking them down that slippery slope, as one of my mentors, Joe Sugarman, who did the Blue Blocker campaign, did over $150 million on an infomercial, so he's a smart guy. Just reading subheadlines sometimes are the best part of your sales page. And then mistake number 5 is irresponsible thanks pages. Now, what's a thanks page? A thanks page is the next page that someone sees. What does irresponsible mean? Well, if you were a child, and I imagine all of you watching now were, some of you still may be, chronologically, I haven't passed 20 yet, but physically I'm 53. I just made my 53rd turn around the sun. Go team. Well, irresponsible is not a bad thing. Irresponsible means the inability to respond. So if you have a thank you page that says thanks for your order, and it's a monologue, no good. If you have a thank you page that just says, hey, check your inbox, that's no good either. But if you have a thank you page that says, hey, engage with us, go to our Facebook fan page at productivetoday.com and tell us what is your single biggest problem you're facing with your online business right now. No response is dumb. No response will be ignored. Go there right now. Why? Because I want you to engage with us. The sooner you engage, the more likely it is you will succeed. Okay. Now let's say that was a video on a thank you page, which is the page people see after they take action. Well, now that's a dialogue, and that is sales oriented, and that is responsible. People are able to respond to that. So make sure you don't have irresponsible thank you pages. So far, so good. All right. Here is a good one. 4 emotional sales triggers to triple your sales and profits. Now, how do I do this? And how do I know this? Is because it triples my sales and profits. Without this, I don't have the same level of profits and sales. Now, this is a planning tool, and I want you to check it out. Now, there are 4 modalities you should think about before typing your FAQs or writing your sales letter, however you start it, before you write a headline. What are the frustrations, fears, wants, and aspirations of my target audience? Well, Alex, I don't know my target audience. Well, I've done master classes on the ideal avatar, so you can go back and watch that for free. But a frustration, you know what that is. A fear, you know what that is. And MA means moving away. This is what they want to move away from. MT means moving toward. This is what they want to move towards. They want to move towards a want, which is different than a need. They want to move towards an aspiration. Now, if you had a matrix, and a friend of mine who I hope to be have a closer friendship with, world class at Facebook marketing. His name is Nick. And he taught me this at a recent seminar in San Diego called Traffic and Conversion, that is run by 2 friends of mine, actually 3 friends of mine, Roland, Perry, and Ryan. Well, Nick put this up on the board. I had never seen it articulated this way. I know what fears and frustrations are. I know what wants and aspirations are, but people have immediate frustrations and immediate wants, right? People have imagined frustrations and imagined wants and imagined aspirations and imagined fears, right? So this is a matrix. So I'm going to put it up here. So maybe you can take a picture of it. And I have 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now moving away, you're moving away from frustrations, fears, moving toward wants and aspirations. They are either imagined or immediate. The more immediate, the better. If you are a to-be bride and you got 2 weeks to get married with your man and you don't have the place where you're going to get married, that is an immediate want. Would you agree? All right. Final question. What is the most persuasive sales page of them all? Okay. What is most persuasive in sales of all time, of any kind of sales page, sales proposition, sales anything? I'm going to give it to you because this has happened since the time of Hippocrates. Doctors take the Hippocratic oath, not hypocrite, but Hippocrates. Okay, look him up. And that is an assessment. What's an assessment? An assessment is assessing your temperament, your learning style, your skill set, your values, whatever. Pick a topic. There's an assessment for it. And the reason this is the single most powerful and most persuasive tool to sell, to get action, is because what do you get in exchange with it for an assessment? You don't get some ethical bribe. You don't get some irrelevant thing. You get your report of findings, which is all about you. So the opt-in to get the assessment is the report of findings that you get. And many people have a curiosity, some even a morbid curiosity of what makes them tick. So assessments are the way to go. Now, if you want to see an assessment that's made me almost $5 million, right? North of 4.5 million. And you don't want to take it, but you just want to observe the questions, then here it is. Marketingonlinefunnel.com. That's the degree and level of my artistic ability. But, stick figures don't matter here. What matters is, will you model this? Many people have stolen it from me without my permission. I'm giving you permission to steal with my permission. Now, if it is in your budget, or if you can borrow the money from your grandmother or friend or former spouse to do a mentoring sequence of sessions with me, starting at $100,000, $30,000, or $12,000. Those are the 3 levels that I work with people personally. I'm blessed to have raised those prices because now more people are coming to me. I have 400K clients right now. I have 9, 30, and even 60K clients. You know how 60 came along? Check this out. So I was doing 130. No one got 12, by the way. I was doing 130, and people were asking me, hey, can you give me what I get for 100 for 30? I go, no, I can't. And I never say but, because whatever comes before but is a lie. But that's for another masterclass. I said, and you may also be curious to know that there is an offer in between. I'll have to take some stuff away. I'm selling, right? And they know that. But I'll make it this side of 30, $60,000, right? And so 30, 60, and 100. Now, for 30s, we have, I believe, 5 or 6. I think I just ended with one of them, but it was 6. For 60, I have 5. So that is the type of consulting I do. About $800,000 a year will come in just from personal consulting. And it is time intensive. It's very profitable. And I learned so much more working one-to-one. Now, if you'd like to be one of those, then go to marketingonlinefunnel.com and complete it. If you don't want to be, then just go here and check out the questions. All of them have a 0 to 10 scale, because that way I evaluate where you are. So take a look at it. You can model it on SurveyMonkey or SurveyGizmo. Doesn't matter. But I want you to have some take-home ideas so that it doesn't cost you anything, and yet you get to do the assessment, which is the single most powerful online sales page there is. It's powerful because it's persuasive. And remember, once you do have the resources and the money, remember to dance with the person who brung you to the dance. Those of you overseas, that means remember me. Okay. My name is Alex Mondosian. I do this every single Friday at 12 noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Who knows what time in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, or Europe. But what I do know is I give you as much value as I can muster in 30 to 40 minutes. And I believe I did that today. Give me your comments. Give me some feedback. And I can't wait for our paths to cross again.